And very rarely do we start with, hey, let's talk about some things that Texas's athletic director had to say. I don't think we've ever
That we
started.
things that he said that we like.
Yeah, I have not. I don't think we've started in the history of the podcast. I don't think we've started with, hey, let's get to some Chris Del Conte's statements. But here we are. He spoke publicly this week, had some interesting things to say that clearly caught the attention of a lot of OU fans. First and foremost, they are trying to renew the contract for OU Texas to be at the Cotton Bowl after the current contract expires in 3 years. He was pretty adamant, like, hey, we want to keep that game at the Cotton Bowl. And then he dropped this little nugget. It seems like they would prefer, maybe they've even asked the SEC for OU in Texas to be a 2:30 p.m. kickoff there in Dallas. 2:30 OU Texas game. Ted, how are we feeling about it? What do we think? What the initial reaction? Let's go.
I love it. I love it. I think 2:30 is it's really the perfect kick time for a football game. You know, if you're on the road, 11's nice to be able to get up, get out of the hotel, get it played, try and get back home. But for OU Texas, 2:30 is perfect. It is a critical window, TV window that's really good. Now, you know, the 11 o'clock windows, they rate really good. They do. But I think that when it's at 2:30, it has a little bit more big time feel to it, right? The atmosphere does, and just kind of the overall impression of the game. I think the fans love it. Gives you a little bit more time to get yourself together in the morning and get over for the pregame festivities. I love it.
I just wonder if there are any people out there that don't want this change made. Right. And I can speak from a player's perspective. I think it was my first year starting. So what was that? 2010. We played a 2:30 OU Texas game. So it's not like it's never not happened. Right. We've seen it. And unless my memory is failing me, I don't remember anything bad happening. I don't remember there being like drunken melees in the stands or anything like that. And it was a close game. It was a good game that we won. But I understand that some people have concerns about that area of Dallas at night. I get that. But I think the vast majority of people would much rather have this game be played at 2:30 than 11 a.m. because it's easier for everyone involved, man. It just gives you a little more time to get down there to the fair. So I really don't know what the pushback to a 2:30 kick would be. I'm sure there's some people that don't want it to happen. I just can't really think of any reasons why we wouldn't want this change.
Only reasons are like easier to drive home, get up, get it over with. But I think the vast majority, like the people that go down for OU Texas, they're going down for a damn party, right? And I think that the 2:30 just makes it a little bit easier on Friday night. You don't have the bright and early wake up waiting on you. I think there's less stress. Here's the thing that I think is the best about it. When you have an 11 a.m. kick, so you've got Texas fans, you've got Oklahoma fans, and then you have just state fair goers, right? And for the 11 a.m. kick, everyone gets there at the exact same time. You know, 2:30, I think you could spread out the arrival window a little bit to where maybe it's not so chaotic right there in that couple hours leading up to the game. Probably helpful for everyone.
There is nothing more stunning than the people that are walking around the fair looking around going, what are all these people doing here?
I know.
That have no idea the game is happening that day. Those people truly baffle me. But and maybe this is the truth, right? ESPN's got the SEC games starting in 2024. that game's getting played when ESPN wants it to be played.
Yep.
Right. And that the SEC, like the prime time SEC game, it's been the 2:30 window. Right. That's what ESPN paid the big bucks for, right? Was that window that has meant so much to that conference for a while. And I would love for OU Texas to be that feature game every year. Right. That would be good for OU. It'd be good for Texas, clearly. But I don't know. It would just, I feel like it would raise the level of importance of that game to the other people in the SEC, right? Like, oh, okay, OU Texas is a big deal. Like they give it the primetime slot every single year. Like now we know. I just feel like, and I don't think we need the approval of the other SEC fan bases or anything like that. But that game just, it being known that it's slotted there, I think it would just give it that much more importance in the conference, which I think overall is good for the conference and good for Oklahoma football.
Yeah, I agree. Another good thing about it is now that you're going to be in the SEC, you're not going to have competition for that spot. Like that weekend that we designate for OU Texas there's not another premium SEC game on that weekend. I think Alabama, Tennessee is the third weekend in October. And I think Florida LSU used to have something, but that's no longer tied to a specific weekend or anything. So you don't have to worry about any other big games in the SEC that you would be competing for that 2:30 window. Now, in some years, it may line up that you've got a couple of highly ranked teams that are playing, but
I think hasn't Alabama A&M lined up with OU Texas a couple times lately? Am I crazy?
It definitely did in 21 because
that's when they beat them.
Yeah, and because there's that video of that guy that stormed both fields. This is pretty amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I think OU Texas is still quite a bit bigger than Bama A&M, but I think that may be the only one. So that works. That helps.
Yeah. So I would hope this change gets made. I think it's an easy adjustment for fans. Now, maybe there are some psychos out there that live in Oklahoma and like drive in morning of and drive home right after the game. That's crazy behavior. But other than those psychos, I can't imagine anyone wouldn't like this change, especially the people that get after it on Friday night down there in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that is you could definitely drive down day of for a 2:30 kick. Getting home is going to be a little bit more difficult. I do a bunch of post game, but I usually get home around 8:30, I think, from the 11 a.m. kicks at OU Texas when I drive back. So
I
add some time to that.
I choose to stay down there and get very drunk.
Smart.
Now, whether it's happy drinking or sad drinking, you know, last year, I was not in a good place mentally.
Trying to get to a place where you don't remember anything about the day, right?
Pretty much. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. But the anticipation is, if this time change does happen, which I think it's going to, that time change is coming in 2024 when OU and Texas are both in the SEC and ESPN controls that main SEC window there at 2:30. So we'll see, but it seemed like a lot of people were fired up about that, about the potential of that game being a 2:30 game.